Ioniq, Ioniq. I don't really know the lyrics, and part of it is Korean.
Holy cow, it's a big SUV.
When you stop at the lights, you can get a little bit of footsie action.
Okay,
What defines
Car of the year.
Car of the year for Sgcarmart essentially is a buying guide.
it's not gonna be the fastest car, best performing, the best handling, most agile, the largest car even.
When we started Car of the Year 14 years ago, it was really to assist our readers on which was the best car to buy in its class.
To me, a car of the year is a car that ticks many boxes.
A car has to stand out, it has to be a little bit different, it has to be interesting, it must have that appeal.
something with a bit of pizzazz in order to stand out from the competition.
Firstly, the thing is, the design-wise, it has to have that wow factor. And of course, the drive. It has to be at least pleasant to drive, but for Car of the Year, it's gonna be a little bit fun as well.
Car of the year has to exceed your expectations.
It's important that the car works, the car makes sense for most people, it's accessible for most people, and it functions in a way that most people will recognize and is easy to use.
And in the case of the Ioniq 5, it far exceeds my expectations of what a family car could be.
So of course the question is, why the Ioniq 5?
From the moment it broke cover, everybody was like, whoa, what is this design? It's something that looks kind of retro with its boxy look and all, yet it is so futuristic.
And when I first saw the car, my first impression was that
Holy cow, it's a big SUV.
in the pictures it seems like a small hatchback-ish kind of vehicle, but when you get up close with it, you realize just how much presence it has.
You've never seen such a car out there. In fact, you can spot the Ioniq 5 from miles away when you're driving.
In pictures it looks pretty cool already, but when you come up close to it in person and you start to go closer and see all the parametric pixels dotted all around the car, I feel that this is really a literal work of art, one of the best looking cars that I've come up close with in 2023.
And then when you look inside the car, you've got not just space, 3-meter long wheelbase is really quite something if I were to think about a family car with a 3-meter long wheelbase. Are we talking about a limousine here? No, it's not a limousine. It's not a 7-seater large SUV.
From a functional perspective, it makes a lot of sense. You know, it seats 5 very comfortably, there's a good sized boot, there's plenty of space in the car. It's also very comfortable for daily use.
You can tell that there was a lot of intentionality that went into its design, both on the outside and inside. Like for example, the whole idea of the car being designed as a living room.
What I thought was really a standout feature for me was the fact that the center console, you can actually move it front and back. So you can create space around at the back or in the front for you.
I think we only saw this in the BMW iX. There's no center console basically between you and your front passenger, so when you stop at the lights, you can get a little bit of footsie action.
There are really small touches about the Ioniq 5 that made it different from the rest of the pack. Like for instance, the pedals were different. It actually had sign to tell you whether it was a go or whether it was a stop. It wasn't just a blank metal piece, you know what I mean?
The sunroof is a dual pane sunroof that opens like that, and apparently that is so that the sunroof can open at half the time than just one pane normally would. Also, the zero gravity seats, I believe, were designed so that people can use them and relax and recline when the car is charging up.
The thing that really got my attention was the 4 dots on the steering wheel. So after I asked more questions and did some research, we realized that the 4 dots was actually a Morse code for the letter H, which obviously stood for Hyundai. I thought that was a very nice touch, a very subtle message to the driver to say that this is not just your ordinary car.
You approach the car, you get into the car and you use the car for a while, and then you realize it's not particularly different from how you would use any other car. You know, it's simple to use, it's intuitive to use. All your controls are where you expect your controls to be, you know.
I love the infotainment. I love how simple it is. It's like easy to connect my smartphone to it.
As we embrace more technology, you know, more complicated things, sometimes simplicity is important, right? Sometimes you just want something that is obvious and makes sense to a lot of people. And I think because of that, a car like the Ioniq 5 has a lot of mass appeal.
And then you drive it, a few things come to mind. So again, if you take the Cat A model, it's not the quickest car around, it's not the most agile car around. But from a day-to-day user perspective, most of us are just stuck in traffic, trying to get from home to office or home to drop your kids off. It really does the job.
We actually got to drive the the car to Desaru, I think late last year, around October. Number one, the car works very well as a road trip car, so for people who are concerned about driving EVs to Malaysia, I feel like this is a car that can do it. Of course, with sufficient charging stops put into place. Secondly, comfort. And thirdly, as we experienced, the advanced driving assistance systems work very, very well.
The car can practically almost drive itself. You set the adaptive cruise control on, the car lane keep assist and everything, it works amazingly. Well, you still have to keep your hands on the steering wheel, but you pretty much don't have to do so much of the controls, you see. It will follow the car in front, it will brake when it's required to. This comes in really handy when you're driving on long trips, up north especially.
I also think it's worth highlighting that the Ioniq 5 is our first electric car of the year that Sgcarmart has honoured.
So I actually took the car out for nearly 2 weeks, I think. We went around testing a few different charging providers around Singapore, and I actually took it to this charger in Kallang and it racked up a charging speed of 172 kilowatt max, which I thought was actually quite interesting. If you understand the physics of it, there's actually a crazy amount of current going through the system.
Because of the electric powertrain, we don't need to go on and on about range, battery, whatever. It's the refinement. A quiet car in traffic, it gives you a respite from the maddening noise outside, the maddening world outside. Not just to enjoy your music, but to have meaningful conversation with your family, with your friends.
Other than that, what's really nice about the Ioniq 5 is actually the Ioniq sub-brand actually comes with its own funny theme song by BTS. You can look it up, or the link will be over here or something.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Ioniq, Ioniq. I don't really know the lyrics, and part of it is Korean.
So when we talk about, electromobility, this is a car that's definitely forward-looking, right? As we sort of enter into greater electrification across the automotive landscape, it's a car that's poised to be very functional and very useful now and into the future.
And oftentimes with electric cars, people always think about all the restrictions that you have to live with, to wait for charging and stuff. But on the other side, a whole new world of possibilities opens up with an electric car. And one of them is the fact that the Ioniq 5 has G2L, which allows it to basically function like a roving mobile power bank. We experienced this firsthand in Desaru as well, where on one night we kind of had like a Netflix under the stars where we watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then the next morning we drove the car to a beach and we had our own little picnic somewhere.
We of course also have to highlight the fact that from a price perspective, while the Ioniq 5 is definitely not what you would call cheap, I do think it is quite accessible, right? I think that's important. When we talk about electrification, you want something that many people can get into. And with a car like the Ioniq 5, for your money, I think you're getting a lot of features, you're getting good build quality, and the car feels well put together. And I think that's important, right? You want to feel that you're getting a lot of value for your money.
And most importantly of all, I think we're sort of proud to be Singaporeans, and to know that a car like this is made in Singapore felt very special to all of us.
So ultimately, with a car like the Ioniq 5, I think it's that combination of something that looks interesting, feels different, but at the same time, when it comes to how you use it on a day-to-day basis, it's very approachable and very sensible. I think that combination is what gives it its appeal and is what makes it our car of the year.
With that sums up why the Hyundai Ioniq 5 was Sgcarmart's 2023 car of the year.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And of course, hit the notification bell so you will be alerted of all our upcoming videos.
And remember to follow us on TikTok at Sgcarmart.
But now that's all from us. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!